Welcome, everybody, to our quarterly impact call. Thank you so much for joining us live today. I'm Rey Faustino, the CEO and founder of One Degree. So today, during our quarterly impact call, we'll give you a deep dive into One Degree's results over the last quarter. And our fiscal year starts on July 1st, so we're actually going to be talking about Q3 for the year. And the purpose of our quarterly impact call is to open up a dialogue with you, our friends, supporters, funders, prospective funders, board members, and advisors, and other folks out there in the community who support the organization. And we really are using this opportunity for you to hold us accountable for what we say we're going to do and to create transparency in the organization. We want to give you an honest look at what's under the hood at One Degree, and we encourage you to ask a lot of questions about what's happening at the organization, so you can see what really is happening in the organization. So if you want to ask questions, feel free to do so in the GoToMeeting chat box on the right, and you can also tweet at us at hashtag One Degree Impact as well. We're trying something new today with this GoToMeeting, so hopefully this is working fine. If there's any issues, like if you can't hear me, please put it in the chat box and we'll try to fix it as soon as we can. Joining me today are two of my colleagues here, Audrey Gallo, our resource manager, as well as Jody Medeiros, our development director, and Jody will be joining us for our Q&A. Let me just switch over back here real quick. I'm going to turn off this webcam. All right, so just to give you an overview of what we're doing at One Degree, if you are new to the organization, our mission is to empower people to create a path out of poverty for themselves and their communities. We are currently serving the Bay Area, all 9 counties of the Bay Area as of this spring. And over the last few years, we've had a cumulative reach of over 225,000 unique people using our platform. And for this is just an indicator metric for us, because ultimately impact for us means that we're helping families break the cycle of poverty and improving their lives. And so this cumulative reach metric is just one of our leading indicators, and we are always working on developing new features so that we can collect metrics that actually help us understand our ultimate impact with the organization. And at One Degree, we believe that poverty is not a life sentence, and that thousands of resources are out there, and we need to make them easier for folks to actually find and access those resources. So today's quarterly impact call is our second for 2017, and we'll go through some updates from the organization. We'll talk about a couple of metrics and indicators, and we'll also talk about successes and challenges over the last quarter, followed by a little bit of a deep dive into our resource management process. And we'll have a Q&A where you can chime in and ask us questions about what's happening throughout the organization. All right, to kick us off, I want to invite Jody here, who's going to talk to us about one of our members in Contra Costa County.
Hi, Ray. Thank you, everybody, for joining us during your lunch break. Each quarter during these calls, I am the one that gets to share with our community our user story. And this quarter, I want to share a story from one of our One Degree members in Contra Costa County. Last Thanksgiving, our member Oscar was having dinner with his neighbor when they heard a knock on the door. And standing at the door was a man who had looked like he had seen some harsh days living on the streets. And Oscar's neighbor jumped out of her seat and ran over to hug the man. Unbeknownst to Oscar, the neighbor had an estranged son, who I'm going to call Sam, who suffered from mental illness and drug abuse. And Oscar had just really witnessed a really heartfelt reunion. The neighbor wishes to be anonymous, but we'll call her Elizabeth. She confided in Oscar that despite her being so happy that her son came home and he was alive and well, she was really worried that her limited retirement resources couldn't support the two of them and was concerned about where she was going to find help. So, of course, years of addiction and homelessness had taken a toll on Sam. He suffered from diabetes, he didn't have a job or health insurance. So, these out of pocket costs could clearly cripple Elizabeth. So, thankfully, our member Oscar had used One Degree in his workplace, and he told Elizabeth about it. He guided her through the website. She was so relieved and elated that there was help and so many resources available for her son. So they've since found some medical help and mental health services, and really still working on putting their lives back on track. But at least now that they know where to begin when dealing with all the hurdles that that'll come up. So this is definitely one of the many success stories from our members that we hear on an ongoing basis, and I'm thrilled to be sharing it with you. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Jody. Wonderful story. Really appreciate learning about that and hearing about that. And we always get these stories from our members, so it's great to hear about that. All right, next up, we'll talk about some organizational updates. The first one, super exciting. We have 2 new full-time employees at the organization. The first one is Donna Chan. She's our product designer and researcher. She'll be working to improve the user experience on One Degree through research and community engagement. And she'll also be digging into behavioral data to help inform UX and UI improvements on our platform. And secondly, on the bottom, we see here, we have Isaac Granillo. He joined in May as a software engineer. He'll be supporting the product development team to improve and strengthen the infrastructure of our platform. We are thrilled to have them on board, and now we have 9 full-time people on our team. Secondly, we have, as I mentioned in our last quarterly impact call, we started working with McKinsey in February on a strategic growth plan to help our organization chart a path for national expansion. Now we're over halfway through the engagement with McKinsey, and they've helped us identify growth frameworks and focus in on some really viable paths for expansion. And so we've been doing analysis on different regions across the country to see which ones would be a good fit for the next expansion region for the organization. And we are slated to be finished with this strategic planning process in July. And we are excited to share more about this with you once that is over. And third over here, last quarter, we also publicly released a new suite of premium tools for nonprofit and healthcare agencies called One Degree Plus. And while One Degree's main purpose is to help families break the cycle of poverty, over the years, what we've found is that healthcare and nonprofit agencies have been approaching us to ask us for more. So more integrations into their systems, more customization, more tools to demonstrate impact. And finally, we're releasing a paid offering that can meet their needs. One Degree Plus is a referral and management and reporting tool that can be customized for agencies' needs. Our first client is Compass Family Services here in San Francisco, and we're currently in conversation with other possible clients as well. And you can learn more about One Degree Plus at this link on the screen, onedegree.org/plus. Nice and easy for you. Let's talk about some metrics for Q3. And so we are showing you here 3 of the results from a couple of metrics that we keep track of. And so the first one is unique users. We had a goal in Q3 to get about 32,000 unique users. We got about 27,000. For new registered accounts, our goal was 1,200, and we reached about 500 new registered accounts. And the last one is total registered accounts for the year. And so we ended up at 97, the goal was 9,700, and we ended at about 8,800. And so obviously, like, these figures are lower this quarter, which we're addressing right now. But we're also, what the issue is that we set these goals at the beginning of the fiscal year based on where we thought we would be in terms of expansion into new regions and growth and engagement into new regions. However, the expansion that we're doing has been pushed back. And so we were actually kind of off schedule. And instead of like changing the goals, we wanted to like keep the goals as we had set them and so we can learn from the results of these goals. Overall for the year, however, if we look at the entire year, we are still on track with these 3 particular goals. And we're doing a lot more over the last few months. We've been doing a lot more new engagements and new traditional and digital marketing tactics. Like we just released a few more AdWords campaigns. We're working on some traditional marketing campaigns like transportation ads on like transportation, like bus and muni ads, and other really interesting things like that as well. All right, off to successes and challenges. Let's start with the challenges first. So we talked about hiring earlier. Hiring remains a challenge. Our senior software engineer role has been open now for about 30 weeks, and we still have 2 full-time roles that are open as well. So we really could use your help in spreading the word for all the open roles so we can get some good candidates. In particular, the senior software engineer role, we really need somebody who has the experience and the depth to be able to lead in that kind of role. We're hoping to fill all 3 roles by the end of this quarter. And for successes, as part of our process to streamline our work and also reach more people, we started a monthly webinar series that gives newcomers to the website an introduction to the platform and all the features and tools that we have on the platform. And since April, we've had 3 webinars. We want to do these monthly, and we've had approximately 70 people attend all the webinars. And so we want to keep this ball rolling and keep it as a good part of our process. Secondly, you'll see here LA Resource Collection. We've been working with LA County Department of Health Services and Dignity Health and Lyft to expand the 1 Degree platform and service to LA County. And because of this big push to a new region, our resource database has increased to over 14,000 resources, and we're hiring. We're about 87% complete with all of the LA County resource expansion. And now I'd love to have Audrey, who is our resource manager, talk to you about the nuts and bolts of the resource collection process.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to lead our resource management team here and to tell you more about our year-long journey of collecting resource information throughout LA County. It's actually our largest collection process yet, so very exciting. First, I wanted to share a few key pieces of information that shaped our understanding of LA County and its importance to our work. LA County is the largest county in the U.S. by population, with over 10 million residents. 16% of the county lives under the federal poverty line. So of those residents, we know that LA County is home to 3.5 million people who can directly benefit from using 1 Degree to find and access resources. It's a lot of people. And as an organization, LA County is our first remote resource expansion outside of the San Francisco Bay Area. So how did we build a comprehensive LA County resource database? The process begins with working with local partners to understand the community's challenges. We worked with LA County Department of Health Services, Dignity Health, and Lyft LA. They provided us with local insight and dozens of resource spreadsheets and resource binders from their staff and networks, which would feed our data entry process. Second, we perform research about resource needs and challenges at the county, city, and neighborhood level. This helps us set goals for our resource collection process. LA County is comprised of 88 different cities, so we wanted to know how resource needs vary from Compton, downtown LA, Long Beach, Lancaster, El Monte, and so on. We learned a lot about the rates of chronic illness like diabetes in some of these neighborhoods, challenges with finding re-entry and substance abuse treatment programs, and barriers facing youth in and after foster care, just to name a few. Third, we set and track resource targets for each of the 175 service types we feature on 1 Degree. Examples of a service type are things like transitional shelter, diapers, food pantries, or job training. We also set targets to ensure that resources are available in the most common languages within our target population and within walking and transit distance of the cities with the most resource needs. And for example, for the first time ever, we collected resources in Armenian for residents of the San Fernando Valley. And lastly, a critical step in our process is testing and gathering feedback to refine the database. We asked LA County social workers to test drive One Degree by finding resources for their clients and to provide feedback about the quality of the database. We use their feedback to make adjustments so we can better serve the community's needs. And if the social workers notice resources missing from our database, we would work with them to get those resources added. After nearly a year, we built a database of over 5,000 LA County resources from every corner of the county. And what does it take to accomplish this work? Well, I built a team of 12 to 15 part-time independent contractors who are responsible for researching, verifying, and entering the data for each resource. We also had 2 LA-based contractors who worked on gathering local resource lists and providing insights on resource needs within our target areas. This was One Degree's largest resource collection initiative to date, and our data entry process, as you can probably tell, is time intensive. So during this year, we worked to increase efficiency and reduce costs of our data entry process. We did this by automating the hiring and training process for our contractors. We now use an online application form and guided videos to train our team. At the beginning of this process, our data entry cost was $10 per resource, and we reduced it to $3.50 per resource. We can now add more resources in less time. I'll end with what's next for us. For LA County, the resource database is an ongoing process. We'll continue to refine the resource information to meet our community's needs and maintain the resource information so that it's always up to date. Working in LA County was a really exciting process for us, and it's important that we capture important lessons so that we can take them into future expansion cities, as Ray mentioned. We learned that we can't do it alone, and local partners are key in gathering this important resource data. Our local contractors are our eyes and ears on the ground, and early testing gives us the feedback we need. Thanks for your attention, and I'll pass it back to Ray.
Thanks, Audrey. All right, so now hopefully that was an interesting bit of information for you about how we actually get the resource management work done. And now let's talk about next steps for the organization. So we talked about LA County just now. We're going to be formally launching our LA expansion next month. So currently it's still what we call our soft launch. So please stay tuned for a formal press release and other information that you can share with your networks about our LA County expansion. Secondly, next month, June, is One Degree's official 5th birthday. So happy birthday, One Degree, next month. It's really hard to believe that it's been 5 years since we started One Degree as a pilot here in San Francisco. And we're going to be celebrating all year long. But we're going to have a specific event, a birthday bash, in September. So look out for information and an invitation to that event in the coming months. And then lastly, here's the next step. As I mentioned, we are hiring. We have 3 full-time positions that we are hiring for: the senior software engineer, digital marketing associate, and also a resource coordinator. Please help us spread the word. Information about all the roles, and including our part-time roles, are available at onedegree.org/join. All right, now let's move on to some Q&A. As I mentioned, we have Audrey and Jody here who can also answer questions. And you can ask questions via the chat box, which we're monitoring on the GoToMeeting. And also you can tweet at us at #OneDegreeImpact. And let me turn on this camera again. Hopefully you see my camera. Questions?
Yep, we see the camera. Yep.
#OneDegreeImpact.
So we get this question early on. What is your current impact or plans for the South Bay?
So part of the work that we're doing with McKinsey, in addition to helping us think about our next expansion region or regions and our expansion path moving forward. So part of the work that we're doing is also figuring out like what to do with the current areas that we're working with. And so we've developed a framework called developing regions and also developed markets. And so we are considering the South Bay, so Santa Clara County, as one of our developing regions. And so we'll be doing a lot more work to do community engagement and partnership development in the South Bay. Primarily, we are looking for a what we call an anchor partner in the South Bay. And so, for example, that's an anchor partner like we have in LA County, like LA County Department of Health Services and Dignity Health. These are kind of like tentpole partners that we have in the community that can help us spread the word within that community and also introduce us to other organizations in that community as well. So that's a little bit about what we're going to be doing with the South Bay and other developing markets that we have here in the Bay Area, like the North Bay, Contra Costa, and other parts of the Bay. Other questions?
Yep. Here's a question for Audrey. How come One Degree isn't scraping data? Isn't there an easier way to do this versus the human resource collection?
Yeah, great question. So scraping data is taking data from other databases. And part of the issue with doing that is there are differences in formatting for the different databases. And so when we get that information, we still have to do work to reformat that and put them in the standards and language that we use on our site.
Yeah.
So we actually work with partners to get information so they can share their databases with us, they can share their lists, but we still do the legwork of making sure that information is legible and understandable to our target audience.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you. You can stay here.
I can stay here?
Yeah,
Okay.
you should stay there. Okay, we have another question from our watcher. And the question is that 225,000 unique users, can you give us the time frame for that?
That's been since 2013, so the last 4 years.
Great. Can you talk a little bit about why national expansion and what cities are you thinking?
Why national expansion? So we know that, we're not saying that we're going to be growing nationally tomorrow or even in the next year. And so the course that we're charting with McKinsey is part of what we're doing is like really figuring out like what does that timeline look like for the organization, and what kind of timeline makes sense for the path that we're taking. Because we know that we are pretty unique in this space. We're a nonprofit organization. We don't have like unlimited amounts of funding. So we have a pretty unique model that we want to try to replicate. And that's the model that we've been taking with Los Angeles County. But we also have some other models that we want to test out as well, some more community-driven approaches to expanding the platform as well. So we're going to be testing those as well. But the primary reason why is because we know that One Degree is a scalable technology. We built it so that it could be scalable, and it doesn't belong just here in the Bay Area. This actually should be used throughout the country, and we built it on purpose that way. And we know that there's a lot of need across the country, particularly as our vision is to strengthen the social sector in order to help more families. We know that that's going to require a lot of systems building and systems disruption across the country. So we're excited about that kind of work. We're looking at a couple of regions. So with our McKinsey strategic plan, we've done some research on some regions, but it's still really in the early stages of that research. So that research includes kind of like the cities that you think of on a regular basis for expansion, like New York City, Chicago, Boston. And then it also includes some other regions that are probably like less people don't necessarily think of like when they think of expansions for nonprofit organizations like Las Vegas and Seattle. But again, very much in an early research phase.
All right, I think we have time for one more question. This one is about 1 degree plus.
1 degree plus.
So yeah, so what's the expected revenue to come out of 1 degree plus per account, and how much time does it take to integrate with new systems?
So I'm not going to talk about the revenue in this forum. We can talk about that offline. Because now that we're entering a space where we do have competition in this space, so we can't as freely like talk about that. But the integration, it depends on the kind of integration. So, for example, we integrated our platform within Compass Family Services Salesforce CRM, and that was a matter of about weeks. And then we are in conversation with other folks about integrating into other systems that are beyond Salesforce, or even like electronic medical records. And those will take a little bit longer time period to do that, because we haven't done that before, but we are open to integrating within other platforms and other electronic medical records and health records as well. Very, very open to that kind of work. So please spread the word for us.
All right, and we have 1 more minute for closing.
Great. Thank you. All right, so as you can see, 1 Degree is on a strong path to grow and expand our impact, not just throughout the Bay Area and Los Angeles, but throughout the country as well. And we still need your help to get us there. So for our upcoming LA expansion, we'd love your help with getting connected to local funders in LA and press and media in LA as well. And also new partner organizations for us to be working with in LA. So please connect us. You can send us a connection email at ray@onedegree.org. And if you are so inclined, we are a nonprofit organization, and we could use donations to fuel this work. And you can make a donation at onedegree.org/donate. And if you ever have any additional questions or want to get together in person, you can always contact me at ray@onedegree.org. We will be sharing this presentation, this quarterly impact call on YouTube, and we'll be sharing the link with you soon. So feel free to share this with your colleagues as well. And the next quarterly impact call will be in August 2017, and stay tuned for that next one. Thank you again so much for joining us. Thanks to Audrey and Jody for helping out.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you at the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.